story is, it doesn't matter if you're 4 years old or if you're 400 years old.
What?
It doesn't matter if you're tall, it doesn't matter if you're short, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, and it doesn't matter if you have long hair, short hair, blue hair, purple hair, pink hair, or no hair at all. The only thing that matters when it comes to chess is enjoying the game, learning and having fun, and making sure to help your neighbors, because that's what we do in this class. We want to help our neighbors learn. Now, all eyes on the big board. We're going to go through some basic things, and I'm going to teach you a very quick game before Mr. S has to fly out of here. And I really mean fly, because I said S stands for super, and I really can't do it. And if you're very quiet and very good, I might just show you how to do it yourself. Now, what are these pieces that I'm putting up here called? Put up your hand if you know, please. And pronounce everything correctly, because this is very important. Yes? They are chess pieces. This is a very accurate description of what I'm putting on. They're absolutely called chess pieces. Howard? Pawns. Now, a lot of people call them the prawn, or they call them pawns. They're not called pawns. They're not called prawns. They're called pawns. I'm trying to find my... Oh, there it is. So, these guys over here, they're called pawns. Pawns. And pawns are the weakest piece that you have. They're worth $1 each. Now, they are the ones that can actually transform. Mr. Howard is not talking while Mr. S is talking. Now, pawns are the only pieces that can transform. And I like to call these the caterpillars of the game, because the caterpillars of the game are the slowest pieces, but they have the power to morph and transform into beautiful, powerful queens, knights, bishops, and rooks. And these are the pawns, and they move forward, march one space like that, or on the very first turn I can do a super jump and go 2 spaces up. Pawns are the only pieces that don't go backward, they only go forward. And pawns capture differently than they move. If this pawn goes up here, for example, and he's over here, excuse me, on D5, see, this is D5. This pawn can capture this pawn diagonally. Now, this is not checkers. I had one of my silly goose students the other day doing this. Hiya, hiya! And he jumped up like this and like this. He went from here, he went 1, 2, and he took them like this. He said, hiya, I took you. And I said, that's not possible. And then I had an even sillier student say, okay, but if this guy was here, I could go like this. See, look, hiya, and take them all 3 like that. And I said, that's not possible either. And then my very, very clever student said, every piece, doesn't matter if it's the pawn or whichever other piece, can only take 1 piece at a time, and they land, whoop, on his head. And you take the piece away like this. And that becomes your prisoner. And we don't eat pieces. These are made out of plastic. It's going to hurt your stomach. We don't kill pieces. You're going to go to jail. You can't do that. That's illegal. But what we do is we capture pieces. And no one's going to be silly. Mr. Andrews backs are straight. All eyes up here, please. Oh my goodness. And I was going to give this away. I have one student. Her name is Miss Melody. And Miss Melody always wins these prizes. And they're small prizes, but they're fun prizes. These are a flashlight here. And then we have another flashlight over here. So let's try the eyes up challenge one more time. I'm just going to pretend like I didn't say anything again. Eyes up. And that's the way it's got to be every single time. Now that one you knew I was going to do it. You have to not know I'm going to do it, and then maybe win a prize for the eyes up challenge. Okay, so these are the pawns that I just showed you. Next up, we have the fantastic rooks. Now these pieces, also known as the castles, some people call them the rocks. They're not called the rock, they're not called the castle, they're called the rooks. And the rooks are called a major piece. They're very powerful, Mr. Howard, who's not talking again. Rooks are worth 5 buckaroos, $5. And the rooks go up, down, side to side. No, rooks go up, down, side to side. Pawns, oh, thank you so much. Take a seat, please. Pawns move just 1 space. Whoops. Pawns move just 1 space up at a time, or in the very beginning, they can do something called a super jump. We'll go over that again afterwards. Now, the next piece I have up here, one of my favorite pieces, The knights. The very powerful knights. Now, a lot of silly geese students call them horses.
And donkeys.
Some silly geese students interrupt me when they shouldn't, like Mr. Andrew, who's going to forfeit his prize. These are called knights, never horses, never ponies, never unicorns, and certainly not donkeys. They're called knights, and the knights are very, very awesome pieces. They're the only ones that hop. And so we have the knights over here, and the knights are worth $3 each, and they're the only ones that hop, and they always move in an L shape, in a capital L. We're going to go through the knights a little bit in some time. Next up, we have the archers of the game. These guys are very cool snipers. They're archers. They go like this, they pull back their bow and arrow, and they point at a square and they let go. And they go in X's, and they're called bishops. Bishops are very strong pieces. Who knows how much bishops are worth? How much? $3. 3 buckaroos. And the bishops that are worth 3 buckaroos are really awesome pieces. They're actually not just worth $3. In Mr. S's class, we talk about why they're sometimes worth a lot more. Sometimes knights are worth a lot more too. So, this brings me to my favorite 2 pieces. His Royal Majesty, the King, and Her Royal Majesty, the Queen. And now a lot of students ask me, which way do I put them? Do I put the King and the Queen like this? Or do I put the King and the Queen like this? So, put up your hand if it should be, this way.
No.
Put up your hand if it should be this way. Very good. The easiest way to remember it is, Queen goes on its own color. Black Queen, black square, and the King goes right next to the Queen because they're married. So one more time. Oh, and how it's a oh. One more time. Pawns go across like this, rooks in the corners. We have our knights that go right next to the pieces. King and queen in the center of the board, queen on its own color. The bishops have these big mouths so that they can whisper information into the king and queen's ears. So this bishop goes into this king's ear and says, Your Majesty, I have some news for you. And this bishop comes over here and says, Your Majesty, I have more important news for you. And they whisper into each other's ears. Now I'm going to show you a very quick game, and then Mr. S has to leave. So I'm going to show you the fastest way to finish off your opponent, known as I'm going to give you a prize just because you said the 4-step move. It's not the 4-step move, but you get to pick between which one of these flashlights, which color. Red it is. We have one flashlight winner so far. What is it called? What is it called? It's called, it starts with an S. Today we're going to learn Scholar's Mate, also known as the 4-move checkmate. So,
Queen and King, but I forgot.
Let's try again, all eyes up. Oh my goodness, your eyes were up very, very fast. Can you say your name loudly and proudly? What's your name again? What is it?
Zoe.
Zoe the Great. Here you go, Miss Zoe. Now, all eyes over here, please. I'm going to show you the fastest way to win the game. This is the Scholar's Mate technique, and then I'm going to show you the fastest way to lose the game. And that's called the Fool's Mate, because you have to be very foolish to lose like this. It's a lot of fun. Here we go. White starts off with 4 fun moves, and if you remember these 4 moves, you're going to be able to go home and beat mom and dad like this. First, you have to remember that these pawns are like your teeth, like the front row teeth. And you have your 2 front teeth over here, and then you have your side teeth over here, 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 and here, here, here. So the 2 front teeth are the pawns in front of the king and the pawn in front of the queen. And I move my pawn in front of the king like this 2 spaces. And that opens the door for the bishop to come out like this, and for the queen to come out like this. And now the pieces are very happy when they come outside of their homes. When they stay at home, they're not very happy. This is a lazy couch potato. Lazy couch potato. But when he can come out like this, he's a happy piece. When she can come out like this, that's a happy piece. When they stay at home like this, they're very sad pieces. First thing we do is we open up one of our front teeth upon in front of the king. The second thing we do is we take our little bow and arrow and we move it to c4 like this. Bishop to c4. And this bishop is attacking f7. Now if we let go of our bow and arrow right now, well then this bishop will sling its way over here, capture the f7 pawn, and then the king will just capture like this. This is not very good for black. Excuse me, not very good for white. So we need our biggest, baddest, strongest bow and arrow. Who am I talking about? Andrew. The queen. The queen flies over to h5 and that puts pressure on f7. And the final thing you do you think you shoot your tiny little bow and arrow or your big, powerful bow and arrow? I can't hear you when you're screaming out loud, Mr. Andrew. Clea, your big, powerful bow and arrow, and now queen goes to f7 and this is checkmate. But this wasn't a very fair game, was it? Was this fair? Why wasn't it fair? Can somebody else tell me? Somebody who hasn't answered and wants to get a prize anyway. Why wasn't this a fair game? Who didn't get to move? Yeah, the black pieces didn't get to move. Okay, you get a prize as well. Alright? So let's find out what happens once black moves. After pawn to e4, moms and dads are usually going to play pawn to e5. Can you copy every move in chess? Are you allowed to? Hands up for yes. Hands up for no. Of course you're allowed to. Is it a good idea? No, because if I move my queen here and you copy me, silly goose, I just take your queen. And that doesn't work. So, next up, I'm going to play bishop to c4. And if my opponent copies and plays bishop to c5, remember, queen to h5. And after whatever your opponent does, like knight to f6, if your opponent doesn't protect here, you can checkmate in 4 simple moves. Now, in these chess classes, now first of all, the easiest way to stop this is just to put your queen in front of your king, like this, and then you're safe. In these chess classes, we're going to learn the 4-move checkmate. We're going to learn duels mate, checkmating with a queen and a king, checkmating with a rook and a king. We're going to learn openings. Can I have all eyes up here again? And back straight. We're going to learn all of these fantastic and wonderful tactics, openings, endgames, and different theories. And I'm going to show it to you all in games. We're going to have prizes for people that come out to tournaments. And we're going to have plenty of tournaments here. And we're going to have prizes in class as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed your chess lesson. I'm going to let you guys go back to your classes. Give me 1 minute, and we're going to find out which classes you're all supposed to be in. You're supposed to be in snack break. Does everybody have some snacks? I think we have to bring you snacks.